Welcome to Wired Differently, the show where we break down everything happening in AI, the big news, the tools worth knowing about, and, how ordinary people are actually making money from it. I'm your host, and this is episode 1, so let's get right into it.
Yeah, I am really excited for this one. We've got a lot of ground to cover.
We really do. So the listener has actually handed us this source document today, and it details a series of just massive rapid-fire developments in the AI space from early 2026.
Right.
And our mission for this deep dive is to connect the dots across these updates, because we're talking about everything from mind-boggling financial investments to an AI tool that can literally take over your mouth and keyboard.
Which is, it's just a wild concept to wrap your head around.
It really is. We are basically trying to figure out how this is fundamentally changing what a single person can accomplish. Because, it feels a bit like we're watching the transition from the horse and buggy to the automobile, right, in real time.
Oh, absolutely. That is a great analogy.
But I have to ask you, okay, let's unpack this a bit. Are we just seeing better, faster versions of the same tech we had last year? Or has the very definition of what AI can do completely shifted?
Well, the definition has absolutely shifted. And to understand why, you really have to look at the fuel driving the entire shift.
Okay, the fuel meaning the money.
Exactly, the money. The sheer staggering amount of capital that is pouring into this industry right now, it acts as a forcing function for rapid evolution.
Yeah, and the numbers in the source document are just insane.
They really are.
AI companies raised $297 billion in venture funding. And that was just in the first 3 months of 2026 alone.
Just the first quarter.
Right. That's not a typo, folks.
Right.
$297 billion. Because to put that in context, the whole of 2025 was widely considered this record-breaking year, right? Yeah. An entire year was $425 billion.
Which means, we are on track to nearly triple that historical record. It's unprecedented.
It's totally unprecedented. And the revenue milestones are tracking right along with it. The sources note OpenAI has crossed $25 billion annually.
Wow.
Yeah. And Anthropic, the creators of Claude, they're approaching $19 billion. The AI gold rush isn't slowing down. If anything, it's accelerating.
Right. And what's fascinating here, and why you, the listener, should actually care about these numbers, is what that massive influx of capital physically does.
Right, because it's not just sitting in a bank account.
No, exactly. This money directly accelerates the timeline for these tools becoming cheaper, more accessible, and exponentially more powerful. Like, the tech you are using today is going to look incredibly primitive in 12 months.
But let me push back on that for a second.
Sure.
Because in software, there's usually principle of diminishing returns,
yeah.
Right? Does throwing endless billions of dollars at a complex computing problem actually guarantee you're going to get better technology? Or are we just, paying a massive premium for a chatbot that types a little faster?
Yeah. That is a totally fair question. We've seen tech bubbles before where the money outpaced the actual utility.
Right.
But the $297 billion isn't just buying faster chatbots anymore. It is buying autonomy. Which brings us directly to the release of OpenAI's GPT 5.4.
Okay, yes. This is the engine of the shift.
Yeah.
Because GPT 5.4, the headline feature on this thing is wild.
It's a complete paradigm shift.
It can autonomously control a computer.
Yes.
Like it can open files, can browse the web, fill out forms, run your software.
Right. It takes over the mouse and keyboard, essentially.
Which is just, on a benchmark that simulates real everyday desktop tasks, it scored 75%.
And we should point out that actually beats the average human score on that exact same benchmark.
Wait, really? It beat the human average?
Yeah, slightly above what a human typically scores.
Yeah.
Because a human gets distracted or, misclicks a drop-down menu. The AI just methodically executes the sequence.
That is incredible. So we're talking about theoretical applications where it's handling your emails, booking your travel, updating your spreadsheets, entirely on its own in the background.
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the shift here is that AI is transitioning from being this conversational partner that you have to constantly prompt and babysit into an autonomous agent that actively executes work on your behalf.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. It's like we are graduating from having an incredibly smart encyclopedia on our desks to having a digital intern who can actually drive the company car.
That is the perfect way to look at it. You are no longer just operating a tool. You are managing an agent.
But hold on, thinking about the logistics of this. If I have a digital intern and you have one, and millions of other people deploy these agents, how do we actually run them?
That is the big bottleneck.
Right, because these models require massive, power-hungry supercomputers to do all that reasoning and visual processing. If everyone is running a digital intern, wouldn't the servers just melt down?
You've hit on the exact hardware crisis the industry was facing. Which brings us directly to Google's latest breakthrough. They unveiled something called TurboQuant at a major AI research conference recently.
TurboQuant. Okay, so what does that actually do?
Well, without getting too bogged down in the technical weeds, it tackles memory. Active memory is one of the biggest bottlenecks in running powerful AI.
Right, because shuttling data in and out of memory is what slows everything down.
Exactly, it's like a massive traffic jam. But TurboQuant reduces the memory usage of these models by more than 6 times.
6 times?
Yeah, and the crucial part is it does that without sacrificing the performance.
So it's shrinking the brain by 6 times, but keeping it just as smart.
Basically, yes. It's a massive industry pivot. For the last few years, the arms race has been all about who can build the absolute biggest model.
Right, throwing more and more parameters at the wall.
Exactly. But now, the flex is efficiency. The race is about who can make it run most efficiently.
So what does this all mean for the everyday user? If we shrink the engine by 6 times, does that mean our smartphones are about to become as capable as, like, last year's server farms?
That is exactly what it means. This shift means AI can run faster, it runs cheaper, and eventually it'll run locally on smaller devices like your mobile phone.
Okay, so if you combine those two things, you take an autonomous digital intern, like GPT 5.4, and you pair it with this ultra-efficient, accessible tech like TurboQuant.
You get a total leveling of the economic playing field.
Which brings us to the application of all this. The source document highlights this real-world example, and this one is definitely our favorite.
Oh, it's a phenomenal case study.
It's the billion-dollar living room. There is a solo founder based in Los Angeles who used AI to build a company that is currently on track for $1.8 billion in sales.
Let that number sink in, 1.8 billion.
And he runs the entire enterprise from his house.
Right.
The document says he used AI to write the code, generate the website copy, create the ad images and the promotional videos, and even handle the customer service.
With only the help of his brother.
Right, his brother helped. But that is essentially the whole team, a 2-person team.
This is how it redefines the very concept of a business. AI is genuinely leveling the playing field for small operators. It allows a 2-person team to execute at the scale of a multinational corporation.
It's wild. You have an entire corporate headquarters marketing, dev support condensed into a single laptop in a living room.
Exactly.
But this raises an important question, I think. Does this mean the traditional corporate structure of hiring huge, sprawling teams is just becoming obsolete?
Well, it certainly forces us to rethink why we scale headcount. If the mechanical execution of tasks like coding, writing, answering tickets can be handled by local AI agents, you don't need a massive team anymore.
Because the AI is doing the heavy lifting.
Right. Human value becomes strictly about curation, high-level strategy, and taste. You are basically the architect looking down at a digital factory floor.
Okay, but you, the listener, don't have to build a billion-dollar startup to actually harness this leverage today.
No, not at all.
And the sources provide a perfect, free example of AI doing this kind of heavy lifting right now. Which brings us to our weekly AI tip.
This tool is incredible, and it's highly meta considering what we're doing right now.
Very meta. So it's a free tool from Google called NotebookLM. You can find it at notebooklm.google.com.
And the workflow is just so simple.
Yeah, here's how you use it.
Yeah.
You create a new notebook, you upload any articles, documents, or raw text you want to understand, and then you just hit a button that says Audio Overview.
And then the agents take over.
Right. In under 10 minutes, it generates a full, polished podcast-style conversation between 2 AI hosts discussing your uploaded content.
Which is exactly what we were talking about earlier, AI synthesizing raw text into an entirely new, engaging audio format instantly.
You can have a polished episode ready in 10 minutes without recording anything. And the meta part is, that is literally how the source document for this deep dive was generated.
Exactly. AI summarized the raw notes to create the briefing that we are discussing right now.
It's AI all the way down. But if AI can generate a polished audio show in 10 minutes from raw notes, how do we, as humans, adapt our own creative skills? Like, how do we make sure we aren't just competing with the algorithms, but actually directing them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The mechanical production is becoming free and instantaneous. So the only thing that separates good content from just pure noise is the quality of the ideas the human feeds into the system.
Right. You still have to know what documents are worth uploading. You have to have the taste to know it's interesting.
Precisely. You become the director, not the laborer.
Well, let's summarize the massive arc of what we've covered today. Because we started with the fuel, $297 billion in quarterly funding acting as rocket fuel.
Which leads directly to the reality of AI acting autonomously, controlling our desktops with GPT 5.4.
And then making that efficient enough to run locally with TurboQuant.
Culminating in two guys in LA building a billion-dollar empire from their living room.
It's been a wild deep dive. The main takeaway for you listening is this. The tools are here, they are getting cheaper by the day, and they're doing real, tangible work.
Yes, they are.
So the most important thing you can do right now is just stay curious. Go to NotebookLM, start uploading things, start experimenting.
And I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as you start experimenting. We talked about that Los Angeles startup.
Right, the billion-dollar living room.
Yeah. If a two-person team can generate $1.8 billion in value today by using AI to automate every single department, what happens to our societal definition of employment and career when a single person can literally become an entire corporation?
That is a heavy question to leave off on, but it's exactly the right one to be asking.
It really is.
Well, that is it for episode 1 of Wired Differently. If you found this deep dive useful, subscribe. We drop new episodes whenever there's something genuinely worth talking about. See you next time.